You know, something super embarrassing as this happened to me recently. Some people may even call it cringe, and some other people may say I took a L, and that is, I ended up getting sick. I know. So embarrassing to admit. I always think it's crazy how being sick is, like, described in, like, TV shows or, like, in movies, especially in anime. If you're reading, like, a Spice of Life or something, and one of the characters ended up getting sick, they still look super duper good, and they're, like, in these absolutely amazing, dramatic views, like they're lying down in their bed with like sunlight perfectly on them. Well, they don't even look bad. They're just lying down and everyone around them say, oh yeah, he's sick. They look perfectly fine. Where being sick in real life isn't like that at all. I mean, you're lying down on your bed. You just look like you're just gonna die at any moment. Yeah, it's been pretty bad. It has not been good for me at all. But I'm not here to talk about how terrible it is to be sick, because I'm pretty sure that's something that all of us can relate to. Today I'm here to talk about something even more cringe than that, and that is modern gaming on the PC. Yeah, I know this is something that I talk about a lot, how just bad modern gaming is, but there is one trend that I've been seeing going around lately, and it's something that has been pissing me off lately, something that's been making me extremely frustrated, and that is we have just gave up on actually optimizing games and just making them reasonable to actually play and to actually download. That was an extremely bad explanation. But the reason why I'm talking about this is because one game that ended up getting released and a game that I'm super excited for ended up being Mortal Kombat 1. Obviously, they had a release trailer of it. It was absolutely amazing. And a lot of people were very excited for the game, me included. Well, I ended up just learning something absolutely smelly, and that is the game is somehow going to be 100 gigs. And this is a problem that I've been seeing all over modern games, is that they're just getting too big. We have just gave up on actually like compressing games and making games reasonably sized so people can actually download it. And this is something that's happening on PC and on consoles too. I imagine it must be absolutely terrible for people who are on consoles, because I know these like brand new generation of consoles like the Xbox Series S and PS5 barely launch with any space. I think the Xbox Series S doesn't even come with a terabyte at this point, especially if you had like a launch version of it. So I have absolutely no clue how those players are even like surviving, but games are just getting too big at this point. You know, it feels like Call of Duty used to be the beginning of this, because I remember when the first Warzone ended up releasing, and that ended up being like an absolutely insane space. Apparently that just led a trend to everyone else in the game industry to be like, wait, you're telling me that my game could literally be like 200 and something gigs and people wouldn't care at all and they'll just tolerate it? Well, why would I even try to even like optimize my game or to make my game run good at all? I could just do whatever I want. And it just caused so much game developers just to give up on optimization and making games insanely just big. And this is not something that you need to do, because there are so much games that still release to this day which are filled to the brim with a lot of content, and they're not just absolutely insane like space-wise. A good example is like Elden Ring. That game is absolutely massive and it's easily bigger than like 95% of games that will ever come out, and that game is like reasonably sized. I can't remember how big it is on the top of my head, but I think it's something around like 50 or 60 gigs. It's like a reasonable sized game and something that a lot of people can go and download. And even the brand new Legend of Zelda game, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, it's running on the Nintendo Switch. It's bigger than like 95% of modern games that will release, and that game runs on the Nintendo Switch. It's a reasonably sized game. You can clearly still compress your games and make it like something where you can actually install, but you're just choosing not to. I don't know if it's because like incompetence or if it's because these companies are like super duper lazy and they just don't care, but it's just getting ridiculous at this point. And another thing that I end up seeing is this optimization in general, and like the specs you need to run games are just being absolutely just insane. Good example is this game that I'm positive that 95% of you doesn't even know what it is or just forgot it existed, but it's the new Gollum game. Now this game is probably going to be garbage, and the only reason why I ended up bringing this up is because the specs to play this game is just absolutely insane. It's literally on the same level as Forspoken. If you guys don't remember, the specs to play that game was absolutely insane. Like if you just want to have a normal experience, like a normal 60 frames per second experience, you need to have like an absolutely crazily powerful PC, and you basically have to be up there in like the greats, you know. You need to have like a 3060, maybe even like a 4090, just so you can get like 60 frames per second, maybe be just so you can run the game in 4K, because they didn't just care at all to go and optimize that game. And shockingly to absolutely no one, when the game came out, it ran absolutely terrible. And the crazy thing about these two games is that they don't even look that good. Like, the Golem looks absolutely terrible. Like, there's literally indie games has a budget that's like 2 times lower than this game, and it looks like 3 times better. This game actually looks horrible, and it needs to take up additional space to run. It's clearly just because, well, they didn't care at all to go and optimize this. And this is something that you're just seeing everywhere. I mean, even Jedi Survivor, the last game that ended up releasing, also had like crazy system requirements, and the game also just ran absolutely terrible. And it's just one trend I've been seeing that's been going on more, and it's something that I just don't like. We're at the point where to enjoy gaming, especially on the PC, it's just getting more and more expensive. And this is something that I just think is just bad, because I feel like anyone should be able to enjoy to play a video game. It shouldn't be paywall to the fact that all because you can't afford like the highest end hardware, you just shouldn't be able to play these games, or your experience is just absolutely terrible. Like, I'm pretty sure most companies should keep up to the hardware that the average person has. Those people should be able to play your games and have an extremely good experience. And all of those people who just want to like buy the most expensive hardware, yeah, they should get a better experience because, you know, they paid for it, but that should not be like the optimal way to play the game. I just think this is just absolutely ridiculous. And I generally think this is just happening because of just laziness. I think they're just seeing that so much people are just fine with games releasing just absolutely huge and just with terrible specs, and people are still buying the game, so they really have no motivation to go and fix it. And it's just something that I just wanted to talk about, because it's something that I'm just seeing happening more and more, and I don't think this trend is going to stop. I think it's just going to continue to get worse. But anyway, this is just something that I wanted to talk about. My name is Lua. You have a good day or night. See you.